Really disturbing story from Paris Hilton. I haven't thought about Paris Hilton in a long time. It's been Paris Hilton, I guess she was sort of eclipsed by Kim Kardashian, and Kim Kardashian continues to have a bad effect on her and on the culture because Kim Kardashian apparently encouraged Paris Hilton to engage in IVF.
Well, we're here again. It's something I've been warning about for what feels like a solid year. Destroying Roe v. Wade was never going to be enough for these absolute ghouls. They know what their audience wants. They know what they have to deliver, or at least try to deliver. In the case of right-wing pundits like him, pretend to believe that IVF is some terrible, immoral thing. And then that becomes their career, pretending to believe this insane thing because their base wants the subjugation of women and people who can become pregnant. That's what they want, and so they're gonna have to continue to deliver it. You can outlaw abortion in a bunch of different states. The thirst, the appetite for suppression, subjugation continues. And so that's what he's pushing here. Using the case of Paris Hilton, who apparently she and her husband have frozen embryos. They're hoping that the process is going to yield a girl. That's now evil and needs to be demonized. And look, I think a lot of people understand the game that's being played. They know that the initial bans on abortion procedures will eventually be replaced with bans on people leaving states to get abortions, bans on abortion pills, bans on all sorts of different things, but IVF as well, something that 20 years ago they would have never considered demonizing. Now they need something to talk about, and so they're coming for IVF. What do you think, Sabrina?
I wonder if they just picked it up because I know that like when a lot of the talks about like, Roe v. Wade and protecting abortion were happening, some people said like, oh, you're okay with IVF where a bunch of embryos get destroyed all the time, but you're against like, abortion. And it seems like they picked that line and really ran with it. Yeah, I think it's very, very silly to criminalize IVF. There are worse things to be mad at. This is nothing.
Yeah, well, I'm sure there's room for them to be mad about a lot of different things, but this is definitely it. It's they've moved from like, well, maybe we should like stop kids from ever seeing like a drag show almost immediately to we're outright banning all of it. Oh, also, this same ghoul was saying that being transgender needs to be outlawed, just like wholly, like because remember, they're not just trying to appeal to a base. At the same time, they're competing with one another. They have to every day. They wake up with a very different goal than we might have here at TYT. We want to take a look at what's happening out there in reality, both on the news side and what's affecting real people, and make sure that our viewers understand what's going on, what could potentially be done to solve those problems and improve the country. For them, they want to demonstrate that they are the most bloodthirsty. Michael Knowles doesn't want Matt Walsh being the biggest monster on the right. He wants to be the biggest monster. They all want to be bigger monsters than Ben Shapiro. And so they have to leapfrog each other. So banning a drag show eventually becomes outlawing all trans people or whatever. Banning abortion eventually becomes we will lock you up if you go to a civilized state to have an abortion becomes now we're also getting rid of IVF, something that people have had access to for decades and decades here in the US. It's disgusting. The good side, I guess the silver lining here is that all of these ideas are wildly unpopular outside of their rabid fringe base. So it is successful in getting them great wealth and everything. All of them are super disconnected financially from the concerns of real people. And it will get some right wingers, in particularly red areas, through their primaries and elected. But you can't win national elections this way. They know it. Sabrina, any other thoughts?
Last thought. This guy looks like McLovin. Cannot take him seriously, and I hope that other people don't either.
See. Don't say that because I like McLovin. That makes him almost sympathetic. He has nothing in common with McLovin, okay?
No.
He wishes he was McLovin. I mean, literally, he wanted to be an actor, and this is what he became instead.
Oh no.
Anyway, but behind the curtain in the past of all of these right-wing pundits is some admirable artistic endeavor that they wanted to engage in. Apparently couldn't hack it or weren't willing to struggle with. So instead they took up right-wing grift, the easiest performance art in American history.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.